Welcome back. This is a follow-up video on my talk about using drumming as an introductory or basic musical experience for people. And in my last video, I argued that I disagree with the notion that drumming is basic and easy, therefore it's a great activity for people that don't play music or for people to get into music making at, in the first stages. And while I do agree that drumming is beneficial and everybody should learn how to play drums and working on rhythm is absolutely important, I still maintain that I would push back against the reputation that some people have given drumming, that it's basic and a great starting point for music making. So there's a little bit of difference there. I do think it's important. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do drumming, but I'm just saying I don't believe with the, maybe the reputation is what I'm talking about. In any event, I want to talk about how I would start people to learn drumming. How do we get into drumming in a more successful way or maximize the potential for learning about drumming-based music? Right now I'm teaching an online course to some music teachers all about world rhythms. In fact, I'm using the world rhythms curriculum from Hal Leonard. If you're not familiar with that, you can look it up. It's called Kalani's World Rhythms. The point I'm making to them, and my argument and my assertion I'm making is that in order to learn any music, we really want to start with listening. And one of the first things I did with those students, my online students, is I gave them a listening list. And you guys can get this right now from my website too. You can go to kalanimusic.com, go to World Rhythms, and it's under resources somewhere on there. I'll leave a link below. And I gave them names of composers and band leaders, and bands that are out there that are popular in the main genres that we're working on in this course, which is Afro-Cuban or Caribbean music, pretty much Cuban. Mainly like salsa and rumba, because there's a lot of music in the Caribbean. We're kind of focusing on salsa, rumba styles, mostly salsa in terms of what we're playing. We're looking at Brazilian music, and again, the most popular kind of like a basic samba rhythm. Maybe, we're listening to styles like capoeira and some of the other styles, but the main, rhythmically speaking, in terms of what they're going to perform, it would be just basic. And then also some of the West African music. Again, West Africa is a huge area of the continent of Africa. Many, many countries there. Thousands of different ethnic groups, each with different musical traditions. So it's, we can't just say West African drumming. This drumming that we're looking at is specific to the Mande-speaking people, the Mande language root speaking people, which include people from Guinea along the coast, and also southern Mali, which borders with Guinea. Certainly this is not, that's not where the only place those people are, but we're talking about the music that's usually played on dundun drums and the djembe drums in an ensemble. That would be the focus there. There's lots of other music from West Africa all the way over to Nigeria and down into Congo, and all the way up into Morocco as well. But we're just looking at that group, primarily because of the instrument focus. So where do we start? We start with listening to become familiar with the music. If you listen to a lot of music that's typical in a certain genre, Smithsonian Folkways was sort of the go-to class, the authority in that area. The Putumayo recordings are actually great and child-oriented and really, really awesome recordings. There's lots of bands out there. And again, if you don't know, and this is the problem, is we're trying to learn something that we're really not familiar with. So I realize that a lot of people don't know where to start. They don't know who to listen to. They don't have a name. So you need names, and then you can go online, look them up, buy the music, and listen. So that's where it starts. That listening will tell you, it'll give you a lot of information. First of all, you become familiar with the overall sound, the overall feel, which is important, right? If we're setting out to learn anything, we want to become familiar with what it is. You know, that goes for cooking to cars to music, anything. So if you want to become a chef, you need to eat some food. That's all I'm saying. So we need to become consumers first of music, listen, and then I would say move. And this is what I talk about in the World Rhythms book. This is what I call a human learning process. This is the same process children go through, or infants, you know, starting at the earliest age. Listen, move, dancing or movement to the music. So again, listen, and that's listening also. So listening never stops. Listening, moving, responding. Once you're just moving in general, then start to respond to the music. And this is what I do when I teach a class. I do some residencies, and I will introduce the music, and then I'll maybe ask my students to respond to different parts of the music. So every time you hear bam bam ba, do a movement, or when you hear this part, do this, or when you hear the next part, do something different, or step on these accents, you know, when that comes around. And we do that as a group, so nobody's singled out. I'm not going to go around and make every single person perform if solo in front of everyone else when they're unfamiliar with it. So I want to keep people safe and not put anybody on the spot. So we do things in a group, or you could do it in the privacy of your own home if you're studying it yourself. So responding to the music's important. Playing along, tapping along. We do a lot of tabletop drumming, steering wheel drumming, pillow drumming, wherever you are. Maybe it's right now you're watching your computer and you can drum on don't drum too hard on your computer, but drumming on your lap, playing along with the music. That will give you an idea of how you are connecting with the rhythms. Again, we're going back to the idea of familiarity and becoming, just having a more intimate relationship. And I know this is kind of corny, but I've actually talked about, if you want to learn how to play a drum, it's like building a relationship. And it's like any other relationship, you kind of have to go on dates. I know that's weird, but you have to spend quality time is what I'm talking about. You have to spend time. The relationship is there. The instrument or the style of music I often say, any instrument will teach you how to play it because it's giving you feedback, right? Anytime you try something, you get feedback. Just like cooking, or just like building a car, building an engine, working on an engine. You try something, you see with the result. In this case, maybe you make a recording of yourself. And that's another thing that you can do as you're becoming familiar with it. But you need to spend time, you need to pay attention, listen to your partner, is what I'm saying, right? Especially if your partner's your wife. Don't talk back. No. All right, so listening, moving, responding, spending time, and then maybe start to do some self-evaluation and make a recording of playing along, and then be objective. How am I doing with my familiarity with the music? Am I aligning with the music? Then, once you've done that, that's just preliminary. Then start to play something basic from the music, like a shaker or a bell, or just play along. See if you can listen to, now some of the rumba we're listening to in the World Rhythms course, it's hard to find one. It's hard to know where the cycle actually starts. The music is very polymetric. There's a lot going on. Maybe you just try to follow the clave rhythm, or just try to keep the steady beat. Some of the rhythms, it's actually where it's just all drumming and singing. It's not that easy. And you need to tune into an element like a shaker or shakere. And that's another nice way to learn how to connect with the music and making some in-way, progress. So I would say pick one element of the music and follow along. And again, this is in the book. This is how I recommend you start to build proficiency and familiarity. So you pick one instrument, listen, play along. Okay, if you got that, check another one, try another one, try another one. This is also going to help you and your students become familiar with the sounds of the instruments, because one of the questions that I get sometimes is, how do I tune, bongos? How should we tune congas? How do we tune this? How do we tune that? Well, if you listen to the music, you'll know, because you'll hear it. You'll hear how tight the djembe is. You'll hear the tuning of the timbales. You'll hear the tuning and the interval between the conga drums. And that's all you have to do. There's no secrets. There's actually, I like to say, there's nothing hidden in the universe. There's no secrets out there. Everything is there. Everything. You just have to pay attention and trust what you're seeing and hearing and feeling. And it's there. You can listen to salsa music and you can learn everything about salsa music by listening, or maybe going to some salsa bands, watching and listening. Nobody's trying to hide anything. So it's right there for you. Just listen, make some notes, try some things out. Listen to some music, get a drum, tune your drum like the drum you hear in the recording. That's all you have to do. Okay, so that's building familiarity, building competency, building a connection with the music over time. And then from there, it's a matter of learning some technique, applying the technique into rhythms, and then once you're gaining some mastery in that, then of course combining rhythms with other players, or yourself with a recording. I recommend so much that you play along with recordings. I've done that a lot. Everybody I know, that's a professional does that, or even amateurs that does that a lot. I want to pause for a second and just talk about the root of the word amateur. The root. Sometimes we use the word amateur like, oh, well, they're just an amateur, like it's a derogatory or negative term. I disagree with that. And here's why, is the word amateur, and I'm not a linguist, but it does come from it comes from the same root as the word amor, which means to love something. So an amateur is just somebody who loves to do something. That's why they're doing it. They're not doing it as a professional. They're not professing. They're not a professor. And they're not just doing it to, for work, to earn money. So they're doing it because they love it. And I think that's great. So we should all be amateurs in everything that we spend time doing. Hopefully we love what we're doing, whether we're professionals or not. All right, so let's review. I could go on and on, but you have other things to do, and so do I. But let's review. One of the ways to get into drumming and music, and especially drumming, because it's not that easy. It's not as simple as we make it out to be. Listen, move, connect, start to connect with specific points in the music. Listen to the bands, the band leaders, the musicians that are out there that are establishing the genre and are at the top of their game, at the top of the genre. That's not a secret. You can go online and search. And I'm giving you guys a great starting point. If you go to my website and get the PDF, you can have it right now. There's no charge. You don't even have to sign up for anything. And then start to play with specific elements in the music. Pick an instrument, listen to it, play along. As far as tuning and everything, I already talked about that. There's no secrets. You can hear everything, and that'll guide you in how things are tuned. And then just pick music that you're comfortable with and that you like, so it'll be motivational, and work your way through it. Play, listen. All right, and then you can start to reproduce the music later on. So what I'm saying is, the antithesis of what I just said is, let's all jump onto drums and percussion and then try to figure it out once everybody's playing or something. If you want to play traditional music, I would not recommend that approach. If you want to have fun making sounds on drums and percussion, that's cool. Do whatever you want. Right now I'm kind of talking about how to learn drumming music in the traditional sense, so having a drumming ensemble or becoming a percussionist or drummer in the classic sense, in the professional sense, not only in the amateur sense. But have fun with it. I support you all. I'm happy that you're here. If you like World Drum Club, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, of course. And we're going to move forward together. And I appreciate all of your kind and helpful comments. I think the comments down below, and maybe in YouTube in general, and I'd like to take partial credit for this, are getting better. There's still some anger out there, a little bit of aggressive language here and there. But overall, I want to say that the people on World Drum Club are very supportive, very kind, very helpful. And when I see that, I think it's great. And I want to support you, the people that show up here with good intentions and who are kind and helpful in their comments. So keep your kind and helpful comments coming. And I'll see you in a future video. Thanks for watching.